Hello, NWOBHM here. Today we're looking at a band from the good old original New Wave of British Heavy Metal days back in the early 1980s. The band is Touched, and their debut album from back then, which is titled Back Alley Vices. Now, Touched were, I guess you could say, were relatively under the radar NWOBHM band. They had a short career in the 1980s, which saw them release 2 albums before they imploded, and both have been reissued by Cult Metal Classics in limited edition runs of 500 CDs. Before I get into it fully, if I can ask a little teeny tiny favour before that, and that's if you wouldn't mind please subscribing to the channel, because that'd be a big help. And there's hundreds of videos all over the channel on NWOBHM, rock, heavy metal, prog, everything. So please subscribe if you would, and check a few more videos out. Back to Touched. So they formed in the early 1980s, based in around Lancashire, and band members were all got themselves together after one or two other local bands that they were in individually folded, and Touched was the result. The usual template, lots of local gigging. They start to accumulate a fan base, some press attention, and ultimately Ebony Records signed up Touched to with a recording contract, and that resulted in Back Alley Vices being issued as their debut album in 1984. Now, Touched had a very flashy guitarist by the name of John Hull, who, as you'd expect with someone as flashy and pyrotechnic on guitar as John, when they're writing songs, he's quite understandably front and centre in everything that's going on. He does the big cutting riffs, the fast and energetic solos, all the way throughout the album. Well, and if you've got a weapon like that in your band, of course you're going to make maximum use of them, aren't you? But Back Alley Vices is, in my opinion, it's not a bad debut. I found it rather generic, whilst generally showing some promise. But what lets it down, and I probably liked it, what lets it down is a rather shockingly bad production. It's weak, it's tinny, it's all over the place, and it gives it a bit of a basic muddy sound. What should have been big booming drums and busy bass lines are all somewhat lost in a mishmash. I'm sure had the production been better back then, it would have sounded better now, and I probably enjoyed it more. But production does ruin it significantly. Now, modern digital mastering's cleaned it up a little bit, but it can only do so much. And as I say, had a proper production been done on it originally, Back Alley Vices would have been much better to listen to. Perhaps it was a restricted budget at the time, I don't know, but history's history. But it's okay, I suppose. As for the songs, Warrior is a really good opener. Big cutting riff. There's some variation in the songwriting and atmospherics here and there, with slower bits and faster bits and heavier sections. And the first taste of Hull's scorching soloing going on. I think that's a really strong opener. But after that, the following 8 songs, to me, generally follow the same format. And whilst they're not unpleasant, they're generally indistinguishable. They all sound very similar, I think. There are a couple of exceptions. One being the slower paced song called Running, which is quite nice. But otherwise, say that the songs are generally let's riff it up, let's sing a few verses, reasonably catchy chorus, flashy solo, repeat. It just all sounded very similar to me. The main exception, however, is called Dream Girl. This has got lots of melody, lots of hooks. It's very catchy. If you ignore the rather juvenile lyrics, it's a nice bit of almost, as the term was, power pop. Was released as a single, which won't surprise you if you hear it. It's quite a catchy song indeed. The B-side to Dream Girl is on this reissue of Back Alley Vices as the sole bonus track, and it's called We'll Fight Back. Now, I think that's a strong song. Big cutting riff, cutting and slashing away, and to my mind, this We'll Fight Back should surely have been on the original album, because it's head and shoulders amongst some which did make it on there. But you know, that's history as well, isn't it? Now the notes in the booklet indicate that Touched were offered tours with the likes of Saxon and Motorhead back then, but apparently the label wouldn't stump up the cash, and instead were of the opinion and insistence that that money would be better spent to record a second album. That did happen, and that second album's entitled Death Row, which has also been reissued in a similar way. I've got a copy of that, and I'll review it separately once I've listened to it a few more times. But Back Alley Vices, I say, in my opinion, musically, it does come over to me as somewhat generic, bar the couple of exceptions I've just mentioned. And it does have its moments, and yes, John Hull's fretwork is impressive, although it does, like some of the songs, as the album goes on, even Hull's soloing, it gets rather samey. You know, there's not that much variation in it, as good as it is. As is usual with the label that have reissued this, Cult Metal Classics, it's a limited run of 500 CDs. As I'm recording this, 16th of December 2024, Sonic Age Records, where I got my copy from, they're still showing availability, though you'll probably find it from other outlets if you look around. I'll put a link to Sonic Age Records in the description if you want to go and check it out and pick up a copy if you think you'd like it. So that's Touched and Back Alley Vices. Please do subscribe to the channel before you go, because that'd be marvellous and a big help. I will review the second album in a few days when I've listened to it a few more times, but in the meantime, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and take care.